Hello everybody and welcome back to Gran Turismo 4. Last time we took on the final event for the rally in easy difficulty. And this time we're going to be taking on the World Compact Cup. So for starters, you may be thinking, oh, we should just go to Mazda. There it goes. Go to Mazda and just drive that one Miata you drove the other time. Right? Well, no. Now that we have a little bit of money to spend, we're going to be trying a different car, and you may be able to tell by just the number of times I've driven it. It's the MR2 Spider from 1999 by Toyota. Surprisingly, this thing, I think, barely qualifies for the dimensions that's needed for the World Compact Cup. Ooh, sorry. It's about 4,000 meters, or like, I don't know if it's meters or millimeters, but it's about 4,000 in dimensions. That's a restriction, and this thing is like 3,900, so it barely qualifies for the World Compact Cup, but it qualifies, so we'll take it. And this thing, surprisingly, needs an oil change. So let's go ahead and get that started. Give ourselves a few extra horsepower, and see what we can do from there. So for starters, I'm gonna try and keep these upgrades on the card to a minimum, just because, well, you'll see in a little bit. So we have to go all the way over to the right to Japan, go to Toyota. Surprisingly, it's not one of the first ones you see, or like one of the ones in the first row. Surprisingly, let's see. Let's go. How about turbo? I'm gonna throw like stage one, maybe two. Yeah, we'll throw stage one in there. Stage one turbo. We'll get ourselves maybe a little bit of better brakes. So let's see. We could get ourselves better exhaust and better clutch and flywheel. 193, 195. Oh, for like 4,000. Oh, this is garbage in comparison. Oh, ho, ho. Okay. We got ourselves a better flywheel and something like that. I think is what it was. Was this one to produce weight? This tightens engine response to get slightly improved acceleration. Sure. We got ourselves a semi-racing flying wheel and a engine response is also improved due to the decreased moment of rotation and shift times. Also reduced slippage when the clutch. Yeah, sure. We'll get ourselves a twin plate clutch. And I'm thinking one other upgrade. Down here, we'll go to weight reduction and get ourselves a stage one weight reduction. VVTL1. I'm looking at the engine on the left. Let's get out of here and let's get ourselves into the World Compact Cup. It's not gonna be that interesting of an episode, even though that's not where I wanted to go. I was about to hit home for a second. The World Compact Cup. Yeah, it's 4,000 millimeters. Okay, anyways. Yeah, as you can see, a championship consisting of 5 races, and they're all decently long. Sorry. Okay. Ooh, that was a big one. Anyways, 30,000 credits for completing the championship. It's not that bad of a win pool. So let's go ahead and get into it. We got ourselves an Opel Tigra, a Nissan Micra, a Toyota Volt S, a Peugeot 106 S16, and a Volkswagen Lupo 1.4. I made this a 8-point race, so it's going to be fairly easy. First track, the Seattle Raceway. Let's get into this. Alright, so for starters, um, this is definitely not the fastest that we could have been. This is not at all going to be the what's it called? Like the most quick event we're gonna be doing at all. Like I don't know. I don't really think this is gonna be the most interesting one that we could have done. I think the thing that makes this event the most interesting is the fact that this SUV here managed to get into the event somehow. Actually, now that I think about it, I probably should have brought that if I wanted to make it interesting. Like, I do like this car though. I don't know how to, like, I don't know if this thing is like actually you can make it a convertible or not. Like, go roofless. 'Cause I know in GT Auto it appears like you can go roofless, but I don't know if you actually can or not. Uh, okay, that's the handbrake. That's the. Alright, so I remember the X and square were for shifting gears, and I'm not in manual mode, so that's braking. D-pad, brake. So I've pressed pretty much every button, and it doesn't look like it's giving me any kind of response for this convertible. So unfortunately, we're gonna be roofed on this event. Unfortunately. I say that as I throw on the one where you can't even see the roof. The camera where you can't even see the roof. So this little Volkswagen is giving us some problems. Get out of here. Be gone. Get out of my sight. Alright. Send him to the pits. Anyways, first lap done. Took about 2 minutes. But now that no one's actually ahead of us, we probably should be able to get this done a lot quicker. Oh wait, I forgot this is a wall ride one. It's been a little bit since I've driven on Seattle, so it took me a little bit to register that that wasn't one you can wall ride. I just saw the little like U-turn thing, then I was like, oh, I could wall ride on this. Turns out, no, you can't. So once again, we're behind this Volkswagen Lupo. Looks like this is going to be our competition for this event. And I make the turns semi-smoothly. Unsurprisingly, as the best driver in this event. So we gotta take a right, then a left, and then another left, and then we gotta take a hard left here, but we could probably wall ride it. Yeah, okay. Anyways. Sorry. I mean to keep on yawning in these episodes lately. Ooh. We're good. Anyways. I'm back in, school year started back up. And it's not been kicking my butt, but it's definitely been putting some work on me. It's not like a lot of like stressful work. It's just like tedious. It's papers and like taking lecture notes, stuff like that. Getting ready for exams. You know, it's stuff that's like easy, but you know, it's tedious. Although I wouldn't say writing papers is definitely the easiest thing I could be doing. I wouldn't say writing papers is the easiest thing I could be doing right now. I, you know, I don't like writing essays. I think they're so unnecessary. Because the problem with essays is that it what you need to write for changes depending on your professor or teacher or whatever. Because what they want for every essay of yours is different. So you have to go like accordingly to what your professors and your teachers want. And it's so like, what do you want from me? Like, do you want this kind or this kind of essay? What do you want me to format it? Do you want me to focus on like one part or another? It's very weird. It's weird to think about because it's like, I don't know how it's like so different depending on what professor or teacher you get. It's it's also pretty annoying to have to like change how you write slightly just to appeal to whatever professor you're writing for. Like, I remember one professor I had. oof, I remember one professor I had graded based on a contract system. So she would write down what she wanted specifically from your essay, and if you didn't meet the contract requirements, she would give it a 0 and not fix the grade to 100 until you managed to get that contract grade, like contract requirements. And then another one, recently I finished writing a paper, turned it in, I got like a 38 out of 50 on it because she didn't specify this, but she wanted quotes italicized. Out of all the things to like minus 12 points on. And then she gave us like a question she wanted us to answer, right? Like a prompt. And then she gave me points off because apparently I didn't answer the question, even though it was kind of vague. I won't go specifically into what the question was, but it was something like, "Do you believe in all men are created equal?" I was like, "Yes." And I put why, and it turns out she specifically wanted why all men are created equal politically, not not what do you call it? Not regularly, not just like, in their daily lives, like, are people created equal? Yeah, they are, but, are they created equal? Yeah, sure, right? Okay, that's what I wrote. What's my grade? 38, 38 out of 50. Okay, why? Well, I want to know how they're created equal politically. Do you realize how, like, vague that sounded? Like, you can't just put all, or do you believe in all men are created equal without specifying what you mean by equal? Like, what do you want me to write about when you say the word equal? Do you want me to like write about politics? Because I could have written about politics. Instead, I wrote about disabled people being accommodated for, and like people from like low-end families managing to like get political ground. Because specifically, I did the Cesar Chavez, and it turns out I still didn't cover it somehow. I still did not cover the requirements that I needed to get to. So there's that one. And then you have another type of professor where recently in another class, I had to write an essay about a piece of old English literature, right? Okay, fair. That's in the English class. That's expected. She gave us a little like slideshow of what she wanted because she didn't believe that our drafts, like our rough drafts, were good. So she gave us this thing. She wanted three separate body paragraphs going into what the story is. What's the context behind it? What is there behind this story? And what you have to realize about these old English stories is we don't know. We have estimated guesses on what was going on back then, but like we don't know what was going on back then because a lot of it got destroyed, is what happened. Vikings raided, right? They destroyed a lot, and all we have left are stories from old England that we don't even know how to interpret. And then it was like, well, we don't know what happened then. And even then, there's not much to write about from the story we do get. I wrote mine specifically on the Old English. I think it was a poem. It was called Judith. It was about a lady just defeating monsters, beheading a general, and becoming a virtuous hero, right? There's not really much else to the story besides that. But what there is apparently is three body paragraphs worth of context that I needed to write, apparently. I don't understand how she expected me to do that. But she did, apparently. It's not something I'd really expected to be doing, but you know, I had to do it at some point, so I did. Except when I wrote the essay, um, ooh, sorry. When I wrote the essay, I didn't write it how she wanted. I wrote one body paragraph talking about the context and a summary of the story, along with comparing it to a modern piece of literature, like media, which is what she wanted, which I compared it to like a World War II propaganda film. I compared it to that, and then I did like a modern twist on it because that's what she wanted for the second paragraph or like second section of this essay. Slash, she wanted it to be like separate, but I didn't know that she wanted to be separate because she didn't specify. So now I have to wait and see how that grade goes. I swear she better not give me a low grade for that because she did not specify at all what she wanted. And let me just say, this professor, this one specifically, so like, she's like weird and vague about what she wants. Like just to give you a little bit of what I'm talking about. On the first day of class, she told us, "I don't know much about this I don't know much about this course, but I'll be learning with you as well. So I hope you do. This is my first time teaching this course specifically." Or not, no, I think it was just her first time teaching a college course. So it's like, okay, I understand. She's starting out, she's new, whatever. But like a little more specifics would help, right? Like a little bit more specifics of what you wanted would help with us writing this essay. I don't think that I'll get a bad grade for it. I hope I don't get a bad grade for this essay. I put a lot of work into it, but I don't know if I will or not. Um, my other two college courses are fine just because they're easy. I took specifically, well, I was kind of forced into environmental science, but that's been easy so far just because it was like, so far environmental science has just been like, here's the ecosystem. How do you talk about all of this ecosystem stuff so far? And we haven't had to write into like papers or like discussion boards or anything. All we've done is just like take notes, did one lecture, quit like a couple of quizzes and an exam. So did that for environmental science. And then for my other class, contemporary math, that math course is pretty easy. I looked it up before I actually took it. It apparently is just the easiest math course you could take. So I wouldn't say I got lucky. I took it from my own volition just because when I was being told about the class or the course, my counselor was like, if you want to go into any kind of business or accounting, you need to take this course specifically. And I was like, okay, I took the course. I'm taking the course now because I want to go into accounting. So there's that. It's it's a really easy course. It's like right now we're just getting into our finances section, and in case you don't know, that is not a very difficult thing to go over because as of now, it's just like this girl spends like a lot of money and she only makes about this much from her part-time job plus her scholarships. How much cash flow does she have, right? And that course is easy. Our professor, she's a good professor. She consistently asks for like if anyone needs help, like during lectures. The notes she gives us are really good. Her exams honestly aren't that bad. And then my environmental science professor is also good. Our U.S. government professor, my U.S. government professor, I remember being told by like the people that took the course before me were like, "Oh, dude, this professor sucks. You don't want to get her." Honestly, I think she was overhated because it's a lot of it's like a lecture notes class where like you take lecture notes, you go and take an exam every once in a while, but there's also like a lot of like there's not a lot, but there's paperwork along with the class, like a paper and like a discussion board maybe, but it's honestly not that bad. It's a lot of work, yes, but it's like overhyped and overhated in my opinion. Because from what I've taken so far, it's not that hard of a class. It's just a lot of tedious work. So there's that. The only class I don't really like right now is, well, my British literature class, because English has been my worst subject since I want to say middle school, just because I don't understand like high level English courses. Like I don't like it for reading all that much. It's not something I really do all that much, and if I do, it's usually like books that aren't that complicated, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid or whatever. And now that I have to read, like these long ass stories that are like have deeper meanings behind them, and like they're just sorry, these stories that have like deeper meanings behind them, and they're like, oh, you when Juliet said this, what does she mean by it to Romeo or whatever? It's sorry, keep burping a lot today. Anyways, whenever I have to find deeper meaning in text, it's like I don't know how to do it all that well. And that's one of the main reasons why I don't really like English classes, but this one's probably the hardest one I've had to take so far because it's old English, so it's a lot of like it's on top of like not really understanding any deeper meanings behind it. It's also just kind of boring because there's not really a lot. At least it's old like other like old stories like Shakespeare. There's at least some like interesting parts to it. Like I did like reading Romeo and Juliet. I did like reading. I had to read Hamlet. I did like reading that. That's like the only two Shakespeare ones I've read, but I did like reading those because they were at least interesting. Um, these old English stories are pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie, because it's just like a lot of like descripting things. It's not like it's a lot of nothing really. Is what I'm trying to get at here. Like in these old English stories, it's just like these people are what you should be striving to be. These people, this guy killed people. Yeah, look at him. He's so manly and heroic. Yeah, he's so godlike. You should be like him if you want to be an army. Like, there's nothing interesting behind that, really. It's not something I'm actively wanting to read, and I only really read it in class when we're writing notes about it already. And on top of that, we got like 4 papers to write for this class. While a friend of mine got a different professor for British literature, he only has 3 essays for the entire course. So overall, I wouldn't say this is the worst lineup of like courses I've had to take this semester at least. Like a couple of semesters ago, I had probably one of the worst runs that I could have gotten in terms of like of courses. Um, I had to take. Let me see, what did I have to take actually? A couple of semesters ago. English composition was one I had struggling with just because I was the contracts professor I was talking about earlier. But that professor was. She was actually a fun professor. I like being in her class a lot. My U.S. history professor was also really funny. She kept telling stories about history, and they were just funny too. It was kind of like I want to say like an oversimplified in person, but it was definitely like better than most U.S. history professors who are just like or teachers or professors, whatever, when they're just like usually like high school coaches that just give you like the notes and then just they're like complete this worksheet and then like it's usually like high school. Okay. It's usually like high school coaches that are like, oh, here's a worksheet. Um, you're the notes, just do whatever. And then whenever you take the test, they're just like, yeah, yeah, just use whatever notes you have. Just use that as like a cheat sheet. But I did like my U.S. history professor because in both semesters I had her. Learning about U.S. history is really interesting, especially considering everything that's happened up to this point. Um, Let me see. Psychology was another one I had to take. Psychology was actually really easy because that professor, she was also really she was a pretty easy professor. She wasn't really like assigning too much work. The work she did assign was pretty easy, but she was also a fun professor, learning about different parts of like how psychology works and stuff like that. But the one that did make it the worst run for me was sociology, because that professor, oh my God, she wasn't strict. She wasn't an easy professor either. She was in like the middle of the road, but she seemed confused what she was even teaching most of the time. Every time she would be like, "So we're gonna get to this part of the lecture. Um, okay, so let's go ahead and get onto this next section over here, and let's do this right now." Like it was confusing being in her class. I'm just gonna put it like that. It was confusing being in that sociology class. I'm happy I managed to get out of it in second semester of my courses for that year. I don't remember what took its place because let's see, it was U.S. History 2, English Comp 2. Um, what did take the place of? Ooh, I already forgot. Ooh, I already forgot what that third class for that semester was. Well, I remember it wasn't nearly as bad as the sociology one. Okay, so we need to take this Lupo over. I think honestly, I haven't even taken attention to the like championship standings, but I think I honestly could have skipped these last two races and still won. I don't know actually if I had that much of a lead, but I do. I am probably gonna do like B spec mode for the last race and just like watch how my B spec driver does along with you guys. Because watching B spec drivers race is honestly kind of interesting. Let's see. On top of that, I just have like regular classes I end up taking, like computer science is one of them. Computer science was honestly not that hard of a class, like at all. It was actually probably the easiest class I've taken because legitimately the program that we were doing, which was I want to say it was called Code HS. I want to say I'm in I'm in computer science too, so I should know this, but yeah, still Code HS. So we did Code HS, and the like curriculum they have there was honestly okay. The curriculum they had there honestly made it so easy to just like it made it easy just to get the information you needed and then just like quickly breeze through all the assignments that you needed to do. It wasn't like let me see. It wasn't like really easy where just like give you notes and then like just that's it for the day. No, it was like you still had work to do, but the work in that class was honestly like so like easy to do because it was usually just stuff like okay, this icon starts here. We want it to end there. Code it in, and it was really easy. The only thing was is like it was in JavaScript, I'm pretty sure, so it's not the most accessible like program. This year we're doing it in Python, so I will be able to actually be able to use that maybe because Python's a lot more accessible than JavaScript was. But yeah, the code HS is honestly like just this thing starts here, move it over, or like we want to draw this. code this program in so you can do that. I think the hardest thing I've had to do was like at the very end of the year. Um, we had to like code a little game where you had like a little title screen, three buttons for difficulties, and then you had to test your reaction time. I'm pretty sure it was either testing your reaction time or how accurate you were with like a like touchpad. So that was something I had to do, and it was interesting because it wasn't really like it wasn't difficult because the way the way our teacher did it was that she gave us what we needed to type in, but there were blanks all over there were blanks all over the like the code, and all you had to do was just fill in the commands of what you wanted to type in. Like you had to type in the commands and just fill in the blanks for whatever was missing. So it really was just like print screen, like square dot add square, or I forgot how to do it. It was like add, it was like square dot whatever you wanted to name it, square, or it was add square, and then it was like name it whatever you want, and then like square dot color parentheses black square dot set position and whatever. What I'm trying to get at here is the assignment was pretty easy, and not to mention, um, I didn't even have to do it. I could have just like I exempted the class. I didn't have to do it. I just kind of did it on my own volition because it was like well, I can't be on my phone because an AP will walk in and take it, so I have to just do something on my Chromebook, and I just decided to do that. Not to mention, the teacher just had on movies. Like I remember I forgot what movie she threw on, but it was really like someone from my family is home, so I guess I just have to watch. Yeah, I think one of my family members is home, so sorry if my dog is barking. So yeah, I'm probably gonna what's it called? Let me see. Let me see. I don't know what I'll do for this last race. I may just put the mic up for this last race and let B-Spec mode do its thing. I think that's what I'll end up doing. So as you can see, after a certain point, our V-Spec driver just kind of overtook and dominated the competition, getting us a clean all gold championship. So bravo on his part. I honestly, even though his car was very powerful, I honestly didn't think he'd actually pull it off. So bravo. And with that said, let's go ahead and get over to our prize car for this championship. Let's see what we got. Come on, give us something good. My voice is raspy. I have not drinking enough water today. All right, we get ourselves the Honda, the Honda S800 RSE race car. This thing may actually be good for the um, other IB professional event we need to do, the World Classic Car Cup, but we'll get there when we get there. And with that said, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And next time we'll be taking on most likely the World Classic Car Championships. I'll see you guys then.